The football team travels to Evanston, Illinois this Saturday to face Northwestern. 11 a.m. kickoff on ABC. Head coach Paul Chryst is here. We'll have some opening comments and take questions.
Well, certainly looking forward to another game week, another challenge, another opportunity, and proud of what the players have done and coaches have done to this point, and still got a lot of football here in November, and looking forward to it. But it's a really good. The more you watch Northwestern, you're impressed with what they've done and kind of how they've come. It's a team that's gotten better as the season's gone on, and I think it's credit to their players and coaches, and look forward to our guys having a good week of preparation and going down and playing.
Jeff.
Paul, if I remember correctly, last year Tibesar made it a point to get his reserve outside backers work as the season went on, so they might be ready for heavier workload. Was that something you wanted to see done, or is that his philosophy to get those guys ready? Because he's done the same thing this year.
Yeah, and I think every one of us on the staff would like to do it. I think there's some positions, and last year, case in point, TJ was one of those guys. And I think that, Zach Bond, what he did in camp, and Garrett Dooley, what he did spring ball and in camp, allowed Tibbs to do it again. And I think there's some other positions where maybe you don't have that luxury. But it's certainly something that Tibbs believes in and has had the ability to be able to do that. And but I think, everyone kind of is on board that. If a guy can help you, you want him to play.
Jason.
Coach, you talked about the fact that Northwestern has improved throughout the season. Yeah. Are there any specifics you can see of what they've improved in or why they're playing so much better?
Well, I think they've I think offensively they've got a really good scheme, and I think the quarterback is continuing to get better. They've got a really talented running back, and I think they got good receivers. One of the leading receivers in the conference, and I think they're, each year I think you find out who you are, where you're a little bit different, and I think they've just kept getting better. And defensively, I think they got a lot of pieces that make it a good defense. I think I've always had a lot of respect for Mike Hankwitz and how he coaches, and I think now they're playing. Team-wise, they're playing confident, and I think they're playing their best football.
Jeff.
Paul, sometimes a quarterback can get really comfortable with a certain receiver, and I think their quarterback has that with Carr. And I'm sure teams know that that's where the ball is going to go a lot of the time. Why have they been able to, despite that, consistently make big plays in the passing game?
Well, I think they do a good job of kind of how they design it and go, and I think that it looks to me like it's more than just you're going to that one guy, but he's always part of the options. So I think that keeps you from having to necessarily force it in there, but it looks to me like in their design, he's going to be one of the lead options. So depending on how you defend it, he'll be a part of it.
Jason.
Paul, how much do you think the college football playoff rankings matter at this point in the season?
I think they matter to a lot of people, and there's a lot of attention with it. I think, for our team or any team, what really matters is what you do that week. And all the discussion, none of that matters it doesn't help you play the game. And you've got to play your season out. And then at the end of that season, you earn the right to play another game. And what type of game you're playing in depends on what you do. So I think, that's what's, there's a lot of interest in college football, and that's great. But I think as far as when you're in it and playing, you just have to focus on, like our kids today need to focus on having a great Monday, and then really having a great week. And you stack those together at the end of the year, all right, this is that's what I was proud of last week. We were in the right to play another game. And for me to be able to do it with this group, that's pretty cool. And where that game is, who it's against, there's a lot of football left to determine that.
Jeff.
Paul, coaches can say that to their players all the time. Don't worry about stuff outside that doesn't
And they
matter.
listen to us all the time.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've been around guys who don't, and they get caught up in that stuff. When did you know that this was a bunch that maybe was focused enough that that wasn't a concern of yours?
I don't know if you ever know. I think that what you want to do is continue to share knowledge and help guide them in such a way that they can have make the most out of this opportunity, whether it's a season, opportunity called a season, opportunity called your college career, whatever that may be. And I like coaching the kids here because they are smart and they do have their own opinions. And yet I believe in it, so I don't feel like I want to share that with them. And in the end, we all have to make a choice. And that's where I think when you see a group that is into the moment, I'm thankful for that.
Jason.
Coach, do you guys have a timetable on Olive's return at all, or is it just a week-to-week thing?
Yeah, no specific timetable. So, we knew when he first got out it was going to be a little bit of time, but we'll just kind of see how it goes.
And then what areas do you feel like Alec James has improved in to allow him to make a bigger impact this season?
I think that I remember talking to Alec. It was in the spring, and I think it's the natural evolution of an individual that when he first went in, he didn't want to screw up. He didn't want to be the guy to screw it up. And then you make a play, and I can do this, and your confidence builds. And now I think he's playing the game. He's got good self-confidence. He's got an understanding of what offenses are, how they're attacking our defense and how linemen are blocking him, what schemes. So I think he's evolving as a football player, and it's been fun to see.
Ryan Connolly was co-Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. What stuck out to you about his play on Saturday?
Well, he made a lot of really good football plays and some in key moments, and that was, I thought both he and Leon did a nice job, and I think that I give credit to those two, and I give credit to the guys around them to allow them to make those plays. We were talking about Alec and what Connor and Garrett Rand did some good things, and Cheekway. That it's team defense, and they put themselves in position and made plays, and I thought Justin, our defense coach, has done a nice job of scheming for all of our players, and it was neat to see guys get an opportunity and make the most of it, which I thought both Ryan and Leon did.
Andy? I can't see behind.
Paul, what do you say to the notion that you've made it through the tough part of your schedule, that the top 5 teams are done, that the gauntlet's finished, that things get easier from here on out?
Yeah, if that's one of the things that we knew going into this season, there was going to be a lot of outside noise that doesn't help you as a player or us as a team. It has no impact. And going back to it was a different question, but we've got smart guys here, and they understand. And you put on the tape, and And I don't know if I've ever been around a football season where November was an easy month, and you can't pick and choose. If you're going to choose to, and I thought this is the right thing, I still believe it's the right thing for our team. If you got to try to ignore all the outside noise because none of it matters. And we know that this is a tough stretch ahead of us, and each week's a different challenge, and that's what's kind of cool about a season.
Paul, you mentioned having respect for Hankwitz. He's been around for a long time. What traits are always visible when you look at his defenses?
It's when I've working with him, going against him, it's always a really sound, fundamentally sound defense, and kids know what to do, and I can say this firsthand. They're taught how to do it, and he's got answers. So if I think he does a good job, if something is a strength, he's got an answer. He can go to it without compromising another part of the defense. So he doesn't necessarily overreact, and I think he's just a guy that loves the game of football and coaches his players in the right way, and he's had good defense. I think they're playing a really good defense right now.
Zach.
Paul, I know there are probably some positives and negatives, but David Edwards, first start, right tackle, what stood out to you about him?
I thought David, he did some really good things, and he played some. This was the most extensive action, and I thought with that he was good. You didn't see a big drop off, as the game went on, and thought he was challenged and battled in those challenges, and I think from that, that's one of those young guys that now getting that significant experience, maybe his chance to grow this late in the season can be a little bit bigger than maybe someone that's played a lot more. But I thought he did some good things.
All the players said they're going to have to create energy and momentum on Saturday, especially with an early kick at Northwestern. What makes Ryan Field such a difficult place to play?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's every place is different. And, the games that I've been a part of down there, you can point to what happened between the lines. And if you want to win, you've got to do certain things inside of it. And it's, like I said, every stadium's different. And I think that's what's kind of cool about going on the road. It's another experience, and no one place is like the other. And so it's I'm looking forward to it, and I know our kids are going to look forward to another opportunity.
Well, I don't know if we've talked much about Ryan Ramczyk since the beginning of the year when we wondered about the transition. How is he playing right now? I know on that touchdown in overtime, it looked like he did a pretty good job on that linebacker who had been giving you guys fits.
No, Ryan's been it's been fun to see him play this year, and early I think there was some getting used to, whether it's because he hadn't played and practiced last year, but playing in games, and then certainly it's a different level. But I think he's taken each week and kind of embraced the challenges that each week brings, and I think along with that then comes confidence, and so it's been fun to see him progress through the year, and I think he's playing good football.
Paul, I know you're going to play both guys on Saturday at quarterback, but is Alex still your starter?
Yeah.
Anything else for Coach? Nope.
We were just getting out of here.
I know. I'm sorry about that. Could you tell us a little bit more about Northwestern's offense? It seems like their pass game is starting to click here a little bit.
No, they've been. I think they're doing a good job. I think one is they can run the ball well, so that always helps. So you can't focus on one part or the other. And I think that they've got the scheme is such that they will spread you out, and I think they've got good receivers, not just the wide receivers. Guys that can come out of the backfield, or they make you defend the whole field, and they can hurt you if you don't. And I think the quarterbacks seems to me like he's getting more and more comfortable with the offense and what they're trying to do. And like we were talking before, he's got a guy that you feel really good about going to. And so I think that's – but I do think the big part of it is the combination that they can run the football too. So I think you really do – I think they do a good job of making you defend the whole field.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.